you should be fine then. Yeah. Just so you know, do you have good internet? Because right now your video looks a little grainy.
Oh, it's probably because of my lighting. How's it now?
Your lighting, yeah. That's what it is. It's the lighting. All right, that's fine. Your audio is good. My audio is good. Sure. So, what did you want to talk about? Are there any specific subject matters? Do you have lists of questions? Do you want a free flow?
I would like to free flow, and I would like to start this with the prayers and blessings of the
Okay.
divine universe, which flows through each and every one of us. I follow the Sufi and Masonic path as a Sufi Muslim and as a Freemason. And Andrew Bartzis has been a great deal in shaping my life because in 2011, right before I graduated high school, I read his Divine Revocation for the Divine Masculine, which all of his work he puts out for free. And I'm truly grateful for the soul that he is and all the great work he has done for humanity. That, in the Islamic sense, they tell you that the creator always knows and he always gives you credit for everything in the divine essence of the work that you did for humanity. So once I did that divine revocation for the divine masculine, things started changing in my life. So I went to college, I did all those things. I got into the Sufi path, I became an initiate of that. I followed the Masonic
Beautiful.
path, and so many realizations and esoteric teachings and knowledge and different people started popping up in my life because I opened myself up to that experience. So if anybody set the foundation of who I am today, it's definitely my brother Andrew Bartzis. And with that,
Thank you.
I give him credit. I pray that higher and divine, in whichever way you perceive that divinity, guides him and protects him and keeps him away from all evil for all of us going into the new year. And without further ado, I hand it over to Andrew Bartzis. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. The challenge, as we all know, I was ill for a little bit, and it wasn't wizards, it wasn't lizards, it was an insurance company. I ended up spending some time in a hospital because I had an allergic reaction to a medicine, and the medicine that the hospital wanted to give me, the insurance company denied it from me giving me a hospital. They wanted me to be an outpatient situation, which then started a battle between the hospital and the insurance company, which I got stuck in between. And I want to preface this, not everything is about. Not everything is baby raping lizard wizards attacking you. Not everything is a conspiracy. Sometimes it's just the facts of life.
Of course.
People have asked me about the vaccine. I was forced to have the vaccine while I was in the hospital. They weren't going to treat me. Am I upset? No. Because I've always said I will wait to the vaccine to the second or third generation. The fear the vaccine is causing is way more damage than whatever the vaccine is doing. All vaccines have a failure rate. Most of them is at 1.1 or 0.9%. This one has a 2.1%. But when you value that to 9 billion or 8 billion people living in the world, that's a lot of people having reactions. Okay? The fact that it was monetized, hold on one second, my audio is a little screwed up here. Sorry about that. So the fact that I have the vaccine has caused people to have issues with me. I am no longer the same teacher because I chose to have a vaccine. What validation does that do for teachings and teachers? If people radically judge everything that you do on the blink of an eye.
Andrew, it's interesting you mentioned that because I've been seeing a lot of fear-based mind control going on, and one of my Sufi teachers in the Sufi Islamic path taught me one thing, that anyone that's causing disunity or judgment of any kind is not of the spiritual or godly path, and they exist in all groups, like you said.
Exactly. Not only do they exist in all groups, they infect these groups.
Yeah.
And the fear-based mind control system is far more damaging than anything they're putting in your body. And I have said this exact same thing since early 2014. The idea that conspiracy world wants you to think HARP, all these projects are in mind control. No, they're not. It has nothing to do with it. They can control your minds with the media and the passive subliminal systems that make you believe you're doing the right thing. That's how energy harvesting works. When you believe you're in the right and you become a zealot, you create a frequency and energy, a bubble around you that is easily harvestable by etheric technology. They don't need to put chips in your hand. They just need to say, we're going to put a chip in your hand. They don't need to put stuff inside the vaccine, because in all reality, if they wanted to change your DNA, they'd put it in your food. Okay?
Yeah.
And thus you have the whole things of the pharmacology getting into food production, DNA manipulation. All that is fear-based mind control, in which people buy into subject matters and become part of the tribalism supporting that ideology.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And I wanted to get your perception, Andrew, of where do you see humanity going right now as we've seen these last 2 years, and from, let's say, 2022 through the end of this decade? Where do you see humanity in its current phase going, as we see all societies are changing? I recently went to England as well. I went to Pakistan, my home country. I've experienced life here in America, and I realized there's something in the air that has changed, and everything is kind of being you could feel a difference in the education system and the work system and the way people are living their day-to-day lives. I mean, I go around and I feel this emptiness everywhere. How do you describe this upcoming decade that we're in?
So the fear is going to be ramped up between now and the end of 2023.
Mm,
I have said since the day one of COVID that COVID will be around well into 2023.
mhm.
They need a solid 3 years of promoting this fear and getting harvestables out of it and getting the mandates in place in which they can do more of their potentially nefarious mind control, not passive mind control stuff, which will create more factions and factions within factions fighting each other.
Mhm.
It's about the decentralization of covert and overt groups and factions within factions fighting within the covert and overt groups. So the politicization of religion now take on higher levels of factionism. Example, different religions will begin having different issues. Every 3 years, they roll out abortion. Okay. In some other countries, it's their version of abortion. Okay.
Mhm.
Women's rights. Or in India, the women being raped thing constantly coming up. Yes, some of those may appear to be positive changes, but for real change to happen in any of these countries, there has to be a targeted reduction of global and local corruption, which will not happen in our decade until such a time that the current three generations, boomers, doomers, and zoomers, okay, that's my way I put them all, pre-technology, technology, and post-technology,
Yes.
okay? The doomers and the zoomers hate each other. Why? Because the doom and gloom, they want the world to hurry up and blow up. And unfortunately, a lot of their religions promote that. Hurry up and blow up. Hurry up and get the this and the that going on. And then you have the people who are science is their religion, government is their religion. Science and government are doing what now within this vaccine mandate process? Proving science isn't right, that science is theory.
Mhm.
Okay. So you have breakage of faith with a combination of corruption. For corruption to be reduced and humanity to go through an awakening, humanity in individual states, countries, or individual provinces, states, and the local aspects of the country have to be able to band together under one common theme: stop corruption. Until we see stopping of the corruption at the white collar level, financial tyranny level, so on and so forth, really nothing is happening. Fear will continue.
Mhm.
To put fear back in the fear system is to attack its base control system of I have the corruption power.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And I agree with you
And the rest,
on this very powerful subject.
this rest of this decade is humanity figuring out all of the tools it has to battle corruption legally and illegally. And then to learn it's not about legal and illegal. There's an infinite amount of ways to make people aware of the corruption in such a way that it's undeniable. Okay. And it's not about truth tellers anymore. There's plenty of truth tellers out there. It's the ears to hear it long enough before they hit the snooze button. Because one of the big problems with the awakened community is they hit the snooze button every other year and they go back to sleep a year. When Trump lost, so many of those Trump supporters who were QAnoners and this, yeah, many of them went off the hook, but they got broken when he lost. Then they should have known he was going to lose. And when they got broken, guess what? They hit the snooze button and they're not really awake. And that's the issue with the ground swelling of awakened, aware people. You can't hit the snooze button anymore. It can't even be an option if you want to be an awakened, illuminated mind.
Yes, I agree absolutely. And it's interesting you mentioned this aspect of the corruption, Andrew, because in a lot of my Sufi studies, it has led me to study all of the religions, philosophies, ways of life that are there. And they're all teaching you the same exact thing, is to love one another, be in unison with the higher and divine. But it's at the top that I see, Andrew, in these different countries, even in my home country of Pakistan, I see the top leadership positions, political and religious, that are exploiting their followers for their own gain. And I tell a lot of people, don't you know Islam is a divine feminine religion? And they have no idea. Look into its teachings.
They have no idea.
They have no idea. It's these people who have basically made this control, putting the masculine and feminine against each other. And why I give you so much reverence for that divine masculine contract would change my life in many ways. And I've been teaching not only my own people, but all of humanity is, please stop with that mentality of your God, my God, men, women, race, religion. We are all one. That is the ultimate reality. And that is the source that we must get back to. And it's crazy right now, even in the post-2020 world, with our technologies and the ways we are connected, we're still not awake. And like you said, they always hit the snooze button. They think they know everything, but in reality, they don't know anything. And that's the beauty of this journey, Andrew, and how I basically see you being a torch carrier for this community. And how would you see this situation going in terms of COVID changing the environment, let's say the education system, like the workplace, how we're interacting with each other? How do you see this affecting our day-to-day lives as time goes on even more?
Well, they're going to try to promote COVID well into 2023. And then there's going to be a hard stop on it. And they're going to see what has stuck. Now, this is classic overarching mind control. Hammer it as long as you can, harvest as much as you can, and then pull back and bring in another subject matter for fear. Because they want to see what has stuck. How will humanity change with schools now going virtual learning? Well, they're proving virtual learning doesn't work. They're proving that kids are highly depressed because they can't see family members, or they can't go out and see their friends. They're stuck with the family members who haven't been able to have family time because they've been at work and now they're at home. And you're seeing a lot of employers here in the States, offering tremendous amounts of signing bonuses, but people not going to the Wendy's or McDonald's jobs. Why? Because they're tired of the asshole bosses. They're tired of being used. They're tired. I mean, I remember back, I worked at a McDonald's when I was like 14 years old, and I got paid $4 an hour. Okay. They're offering $15 an hour starting, full medical benefits, and a $500 signing bonus now. Okay. Not even mothers with 3 kids are taking those jobs. Why? Because they don't want to be used anymore. That's something that COVID and all of the fear did give as a positive. I can say no to these jobs. I can make it work. I can have time with my kids. Not everything turned out perfect. There's always going to be the good and the bad in it. I know many families that have broken up because of COVID. Why? Because nobody could deal with each other's personal character flaws all the time. But when they were there part-time, they could. Okay. Now, the next thing is, as they begin to sell the next fear thing in 2023, and there's this pause before the next storm, and the awakened raise their hand going, no, don't believe it. It's just a repeat. Just like they wheel out Iran every year with nuclear deal talks, this, so on. All the old stories are going to try to come back. And until they give us a new story, a brand new story that hasn't been done in 25 years, you know that the gig of mind control is still there.
Mhm.
But humanity itself has some positive options here. In that interim between mid 2023, or say late 2022 and mid 2023,
Mhm.
the individual humans have a chance where the realms of spirit will speak volumes to them.
Mhm.
There are what I call orator spirits, speaker spirits on the other side that are just waiting for us to tune in to what I call Angel Rock 99.5, or the different communities of ethereal beings that are broadcasting a form of music and speaking teachings. Okay. And
Mhm.
that's how to rediscover the heart, how to be back into the body, how to discover blissful interaction that isn't about sexuality, how to rediscover a faith within yourself so that you can renew the spirit of faith in the local reality, which then can renew your faith in the planet that you live on, which will renew your faith in the galactic wisdom flowing through everything in this massive grand cycle that goes between mid 2008 and late 2042. Okay, that's the window where the Yuga cycle is at its bottom, and then there's 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks from the bottom. We're 2.5 ticks from the bottom, so we're technically still at the bottom.
Mhm.
It's not until we're at that minute hands, 1 minute away from the bottom, does the awakening take on an accelerated evolution. And many people woke up early, but have been hitting the snooze button.
Yes.
Presenters like you and I have a chance to remind people through metaphor, if you hit the snooze button, what happens?
Well,
You're going
that's
to miss the show. You're going to miss the show.
that's the thing, Andrew. And you pointed this out, my brother, in a very beautiful manner. How net right now there's this mass resignation going across America, which is telling you that this corporatocracy and this hegemony, which has controlled people's lives in many ways, is now coming to a steep decline and possibly its end, where there's a peaceful non-compliance. So if collectively everyone has this peaceful non-compliance against the system of control, then over time we do see this change. And the aspect of the heart, it reminds me of a Sufi proverb, which tells you that I tried to find Allah, but I only found myself. I tried to find myself, but only found Allah. So it's like all of this is all of us, including you, my brother, we're all a manifestation of that perfect being trying to understand itself through itself. And in our heart, that's it's the key to our heart, the language of the heart, where mostly we have the gut instinct, but also the language of the heart and the knowing of the heart. And if we delve deeper, and right now the human heart is under most attack because they want us to hate each other, the desensitization through war, video games, violence, all of this stuff where you don't feel empathy towards anybody, where I could look at the news and they said, oh, we have another school shooting or some brown kids got bombed overseas. People are just they're numb to it, and that's the problem, is our human hearts are under attack. And I thank you very much for pointing out why the heart is so important and why we need to delve deeper into the teachings of the heart
and rediscovery of faith.
Mm.
Many people, even the awakened and the illuminated awakened, are still suffering a form of broken faith. I encounter it in my public and private sessions all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Many people who are coaches, high-level emotional teaching coaches, they still have a breakage in faith. Why are there so many people this broken?
Yes.
Okay? Because they chose.
Mm-hmm.
And then they chose not to heal. Then they chose conditional love. I will love all these other people and give you all my effort to that other side. But when it comes time to self-healing, self-nurturing, and the master of self-healing and self-nurturing, they won't do it for themselves.
Exactly.
And this is where reconnecting to your local faith in your own heart. That's why one of the teachings I bring forward is rediscover who you were when you were the fetus in the womb. When your mother's egg met your father's sperm, the first thing that was created with those cells was the heart.
Yes.
Okay. A few weeks later, okay, you know what the second organ was? Our tongue. That's the second organ.
Mm-hmm.
Before the brain and the spine and arms and legs, you were just a heart and a tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Reconnect to that.
Mm-hmm.
That being separate of the mothers in the womb, that being as a heart and a tongue, it can speak to you. And it can bring tremendous reconnective wisdom up in your heart through your tongue so you can hear it. One of the reasons I created these contract revocations was so that people can hear the power of their own voice.
Yes.
We are in a time where the out loud, name it to claim it system is vital part of the journey of gathering the big toolbox that's out there. Faith does not need a religion. It does not need words. It just needs presence.
Mm-hmm.
And the presence starts with hearing your intonation. As we create memories, these are chemical memories right now, but after a while, they become deep ingrained light memories. They're no longer a chemical equation that's storing it in an XY axis in our brain. It is spirit in light, in memory. And all of that is available to us when we go through this name it to claim it process, clawing back the powers that we have given away, seeing how energy is harvested from us. And then on the opposite side of the pendulum, bringing the light back to us. Mm-hmm. For that which we look at looks back at us. And unfortunately, in this information overload and weaponization of information, people get lured at looking at the dark stuff. Yes. And then they become a conspiracy theorist where it's just baby raping lizard wizards and all the other negative things that are out there, and they don't look at the positive. Or they become, rainbow unicorn farting angels who believe nothing can go wrong in their life until the bill's got to be paid and they're out on the street. Mm-hmm. You can't love and light a bill. You can't love and light your rent. You can't eat love and light either, can you?
I agree. I absolutely agree. And it's interesting because in this, the Sufi aspect, they tell you that both good and evil come from the creator. And it's this balance the balance that's been placed in our life is that you are given free will to make your choice. But at the same time, you have to realize, just like how you look at the Kabbalistic tree of order and chaos, one cannot exist without the other. Same thing you have in the, my tradition as well, where they tell you that you will have good times, good times, but they're all there to shape you to who you are meant to become. Because if it's always love, light, and happiness all the time, you won't have any growth in your life. So you do have to get put through the ringer in many ways, as many of my Sufi teachers have taught me. And I thank you for sharing that. Why in today's world, Andrew, everyone's afraid to make an effort, make commitments, get into relationships, which goes to my next question is right now, I envy the time of my parents and grandparents where people were simpler. It was easier to get married. Right now, I'll be 30 soon. And I'm looking at my generation, Andrew, and I feel sad at the same time that no one's making any efforts with one another. They want to help heal others, but they don't want to heal their own self, like you pointed out. How do you see the next generation of friendships and relationships going as we head towards this new decade?
There's going to be a lot of false, fake, faux teachers getting exposed. Mm-hmm. And the current young generation has been watching the false, faux teachers go on TV and books. And unfortunately, a lot of those false teachers have to fail. Mm-hmm. In India, you're seeing the white bearded guys taken out 2-3 times a year. Yeah. I'm not individuating. They're shooting themselves in the foot. Mm-hmm. The Catholic religion has it with their covering up of the rape scandals. Mm-hmm. Every religion has that issue. And until religions allow natural co-creative reform, even at the philosophical and teaching level, those things are going to continue. Now, this current generation is going to be faced with self-help gurus who are just in it for money. But some of the teachings these self-help gurus have are good, but they're not the only thing that's out there. Kids are going to have to learn the a la carte system, what works in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
One day it might be Sufi dancing, and the next day it might be indigenous drumming. And the next day after that, it might be meditation. And the day after that, it's a dedication back to something else that's more foundational for them.
Mm-hmm.
And a system around them that allows the a la carte system.
Mm.
But until the a la carte system is allowed in these younger generations, they're going to have to sift through with a sickle what's truth and what isn't. What's a practice that will actually help them, and what a practice that will distract them. Daily practice is not difficult to understand. I use this effort scale. 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week is C plus effort. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week is B plus effort. 90 minutes a day, 6 days a week is A plus effort.
Mm.
Now you can go from C to A plus effort every week as long as you are practicing a variety of teachings, not stuck into one mono repetitive teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? One day it's meditation, another day it's walk in the park, and so on and so forth, until such a time you begin understanding you have to strategize your daily practice weeks ahead of time. You got to look forward to your schedule. And then you also got to be willing to look backwards. Okay? No matter what practice you're doing, if you don't go, well, what did I do the last 3 weeks that actually helped me in this particular religious practice?
Mm-hmm.
If you look back and see nothing helped you, why are you doing it?
Yes.
There were no aha moments. Okay, maybe their passion wasn't there. That's the other thing. Enthusiastic effort.
Mm-hmm.
The young kids truly don't know what enthusiastic effort means. Okay, your generation, my generation, we had to turn it, didn't have video games. We could play with our dolls and our toys. The modern kids don't play with the dolls and their toys. They have their mom's cell phone and Minecraft. Something educating the fun. So as this younger group goes to rediscover spirituality, no matter what religion is, it comes down to the enthusiastic effort to have a daily practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then the commitment, courage, and discipline, none of which are mystical, and all of our free will choice. They're going to be faced with that heavy weight of what free will means.
Mm-hmm.
Free will to be deceived, free will to be enlightened,
Mm-hmm.
free will to be fleeced for these teachings, but man, they helped. Okay? Or the free will to find it for free. Like I put out a lot of 80% of my material is free.
Yes.
Why? Because I know when you come to practice it, you'll have enough enthusiastic effort to go, you know what? Let me help them out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the next thing is regurgitation of teachings. Far too many people, as soon as they learn something, they regurgitate it to every social media and every person that will hear. That's a no-no. Go moving to the future. You got to process before you become a teacher. Everybody wants to be a teacher now, but they don't want the responsibilities of being a teacher.
I agree.
Okay? Being a teacher means you are also a student,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be taught by the lowliest mouse fart next door to remind you to be peaceful, to not be aggressive, to live a balanced life. And that when people come to you, hold them in reverence, the same reverence that they hold you into.
Mm-hmm.
Co-creative and not codependent. Unfortunately, a lot of people in this generation are codependent on teachers and gurus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their issue, not the teacher or the guru. Yes, there are some teachers who want guruism, and that's because they practice a lineage.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they were taught, and the people before them and the people before them. But as long as there's natural co-creative and not codependent reform, you can continue to move forward so that philosophy creates philosophizers and not followers of a philosophy. That's the most important part about moving forward into the modern religion. A new generation of philosophers who know the many philosophies.
Mhm. Yes, I agree absolutely with you, Andrew. And it's very important, even in my own teachings, where I was open-minded from the background that I come from, to learn from Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, and spend time with Jewish friends, Christian friends, and realize all of us are being taught the same thing. Who is it that's benefiting from dividing us? Who's working this system? When together, if we come together, we can become more stronger. And that's why in my faith, in my country, with the patriarchal system, I've been fighting against that in the Masonic Brotherhood. And I represent myself only when I mention that. So even there, I'm trying to change the system, trying to get people to be open to different things, be more tolerant, and to even tell the spiritual community that most people have this conception that all Muslims or Freemasons are evil. That's not true. You have good and bad exist in all races, religions, and groups of the world. It's a universal order. Like I said, both good and evil come from God. So you will find that reflection in these societies as well. And what I have been doing is this aspect of teaching, like Andrew said, is you have to be disciplined. So it's two people that they're either disciplined or they're non-disciplined. So we have to take the discipline option. We have to take responsibility and make the effort of honing your spiritual practices. And I'm glad Andrew has pointed that out. And it's beautiful because we realize we're in this world. Did we just come to pay bills and die and all that stuff? I think we're here to do more than that, which is to uplift the human heart, uplift each other, and walk each other home in this short human life. Where I have it today, I might not have it tomorrow. Which goes to my next question to ask Andrew is, if today was your last day on earth, what would you tell people that love you and you love them? What message would you give to humanity and those, including my generation? What would you tell us and to the people that love you dearly?
Good question. I would start with jokes, because comedy, there are certain teachings that you can't bring up without fear coming into them. I coined the term baby raping lizard wizards. And there's a reason I did it, because so many people, that's all they believe in, the worst of the negatives.
Yes.
But I turned it into a joke in the way that I used it. So there are certain teachings that I know are difficult that I would turn into some jokes, specifically about the harvesting of humans' energy. Well, we've been giving them our energy out of our own ignorance and repetitive ignorance every time we've had the awakened moment and hit the snooze button. When you hit that snooze button, you are consenting to energy harvesting. Okay? When you vote, you are consenting to energy harvesting. The laws are written that way. Now, I know you've practiced the Masonic order stuff, but 150 years ago, the Masonics used their magical concepts to ingrain laws into a magical law, because they knew how reality worked. And the locals manipulated the local laws so that regular soul family energy would stay near these temples. All the religions did it in their own way. And we can undo that with but a handful of jokes. And in such a way that it will not harm the practitioners of those eras, but it'll make them laugh at the limitation they imposed on their own selves.
Of course.
That the teaching of religious comedy is just as important as healing the faith. That's the first thing. The second thing is, even though I've said this before, this is never meant to be a global collective awakening. It is always, and it's a bill of goods that the modern communities are selling you. It has been from day one meant to be an individual awakening separate from the collectives.
Mm.
Each and every human being must come into their own truth with the relationship to the celestial world that is offering them a space of shared reality rules that allows you to incarnate or reincarnate in a lineage over and over again, so we can come and learn how to be the next sources.
Mm-hmm.
This is source school. We learn how to be the God figureheads within us. We are the creators of our own reality, and we come to Earth to get the double PhD in the School of Hard Knocks. And when we're done here, we are going to teach everyone about every hard knock we ever had, because it made us stronger. We have learned the infinite amount of ways to be source connected and source disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
all within the blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime to lifetime, source connected, source disconnected, source connected, source disconnected, source connected, source disconnected, until such a time during the grand awakening, even in disconnection, we are connected.
Yes.
Lifetime to lifetime. And getting people to remind them that the school of hard knocks, you don't get to quit on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. You're going to repeat it. When you volunteered to be here, and each and every person, I want to go home. This is not my world. Yes, it is. 90% of this world is old souls. That means you don't get to do it the easy way. The 10% that are not old souls, they're still old enough to know that when they came here, yeah, they might have graduated high school a year early and went right on to university, okay? But they're still 1 year old, one cycle less than the older ones.
Mm.
No one's a brand new soul that came here, and everyone agreed to come here.
Mm.
And the vast majority that came here 30 to 40 million years ago.
Mm-hmm.
How much more proof do you need inside yourself? You're from this place now. You're not from somewhere else. Part of the God source school is when we're done, we have to take these teachings to the rest of the universe, and to remind people or other species who no longer use natural birth of what natural birth does lifetime to lifetime. Imagine teaching a gray that's 10,000 years old and has never been pregnant, what their swollen feet feel like, how to raise a child, how to nipple feed.
Mm.
Those are beautiful things. We get to reteach whole societies who use genetic engineering to take those experiences away. How to be emotions, how to feel emotions, how to connect to a faith. That's the power we have during the journey of going back out, helping people to reconnect to their source frequencies.
I am just in awe, Andrew, just listening to this, and I can't believe that I'm finally speaking to you. So I'm just taking this in and enjoying it with pure love. And I had an experience like that. I had a woman come to one of my old jobs when I used to work the graveyard shift, and she told me that, yeah, you're an old soul. And I asked her, why did I come back here? And she said, look at the condition the world is in. It's not just you only, but all of us collectively that are here doing the work which is necessary. Which goes to my next question, Andrew, is right now, collectively, all of us in this human unity, yourself, myself, everyone who's on this path, we see the world. I go to my local park, I see broken beer bottles all over the place. I see trash all over the place. I see people being very nasty to each other, that separation in the families, that hatred that's going around. A lot of the inner cities across America, especially I'm here in the Philadelphia area, and it's been out of control with the violence. So how do you see all of us as old souls going forward, and what efforts can we do collectively to bring this change and get people to, see the reality of what's going on?
So I'm going to pick apart words for a second.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a collective awakening. It's an individual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we've been sold this bill of goods as collective. I
Mm-hmm.
understand the nature of collection. What do the old souls do to collect together? And unfortunately, in the beginning, it's not about collecting together. It's manifesting your individual grounded faith with the planet, the local environment, the ancestral spirits on the land, learning how to practice your daily practice, mastering that in such a way. And by doing that, the collective will come together at the most basic framework. Hey, there's a guy down the street doing the same thing, and I feel his energy. I'm going to go out and have a cup of coffee with him. And then a few months later, man, I can feel the practitioners manifesting reality. Until that happens, the individual journey of the individual reconnecting of faith, that's how the old souls get the groundswell of the positive revolution against the energy harvesting. There's millions and millions of us who can do their own individual magical rituals that can halt energy harvesting around you. And the machine will fall apart. It will fall apart when we learn we are the wrench in the gears. Okay? And then after a while, when a bunch of us are throwing wrenches, hey, I saw you throw that last wrench. Let's collect together and throw a bunch of wrenches somewhere else.
I agree.
But you got to be mastering wrench throwing. You got to master how to manifest the wrenches. You got to master making the map of how the machine works in your own brain. And then when the masters get together, there becomes a master plan. Okay? That's the masterminding of the future.
I agree.
Where the individuals dictate to the collective how it's done.
Yes.
Okay? And then once humanity learns how to trust the dictated collective, the collective can go, hey, individuals, these are some of the things we suggest back to you to change, so the collective collectively responds to co-creative change. And there doesn't create codependency to collectives.
Thank you, Andrew. And I'm glad you pointed that out the way that you did. And you are right, because a lot of my studies, I actually had to go to my home country and study with these different teachers in Islamabad and Karachi in different parts. And I asked a lot of these teachers, why are you in this specific area? And they told me that each of these masters, from the Sufi perspective, they're all tied to different locations of the world to basically be part of their own individual energies. Like in America, there's many of them in the Detroit area, many of them here in the Philadelphia area, in the Virginia area. So many of them I saw when I was in England. So you're right. All of us individually have to be our own energy reactors to break that machine down and to manifest our realities and be a part of that effort of honing your spiritual practices. I really thank you for sharing that.
It is that simple. That is the recipe for insurrection, a positive insurrection against the system.
Yes.
The individuals do it in their own little bubble of reality until such a time you've mastered doing it in your bubble of reality, and the universe will go, hey guys, just come together. You don't need to walk the streets together. You just have to figure out where to throw the wrench.
Of course.
That's it. Okay? And the wrench you're throwing is to the etheric world. It's not the physical world. The etheric world, once you start breaking down all these etheric constructs by throwing the wrenches there, there's no one to repair them. That's one thing that the system of domination control, when they got rid of the wizard class between the ending of agriculture era and the beginning of the industrial era, there's no one to fix these etheric constructs. The AIs may try to fix them, but it's not the same thing as a magical practitioner creating a magical construct around a building that has faith energy being put into it. Okay? There's not enough etheric practitioners to rebuild the system. It's because they're cheap. And something to take out there, this world is owned by psychopaths and run by idiots. And they're cheap. In their cheapness and in their idiocracy, We have so many opportunities to create unique forms of freedom that don't involve blood and guts and violence, exploiting their cheapness, exploiting their idiocracy, and helping people get out of their own mediocrity.
Yes. That's Andrew, that is beautiful, because I realized even in my sect that I'm dealing with is you have these agents of chaos, and these agents of chaos are in all races, religions, and groups in the world. And I realized the higher up that I'm working, or the higher up that I get in any organization or religion or country that I'm dealing with, you realize, okay, this guy has the cover of being a Muslim, especially, in Pakistan, the leadership, but in reality, he's somebody else that's teaching hatred, that's putting one party against the other, or he's telling you to hate this or do this or cause violence and destruction. Here we see the same thing where the higher up we go, we see that behind the scenes that they're all working together and they're putting one against the other. So you're right. People have to take their individual responsibility against these agents of chaos and be their own reactors of light in this system that we're in, where we're seeing massive amounts of hatred, division, systems breaking down, families are breaking up, like you said. And it just goes to show you now, with this AI coming in, how do you see humanity, especially with the AI? And I've had instances, Andrew, where I know, like, I have my phone here and I could be, let's say I'm speaking about something and I'm scrolling through Facebook or YouTube, like the product pops up. So recently things happened to me where I didn't mention anything and I thought about something, and that same exact
It's reading your brain. It's reading your brain. It's reading your aura. Yes. Now that's not AI. That's not AI. Human beings are manifesting beings, and the AI is just watching beings who create an auric field and reading it. They're not actually reading your soul or your mind. They're reading your energy. Now, when you're scrolling, you don't realize how open you are. Scrolling was designed to be hypnotic, endless processing. All the social media engines are engineered so that the physical person and then the etheric person has easy access to, meaning the AI can read, hey, you're going to be looking at this book in a week from now. It's in your frequency. You and me, kind of as spiritual practitioners, know that we create our reality, but the rest of the world doesn't. And on that journey of creating your reality, things percolate in your energy field before they manifest.
Yes.
And the AI wants to use that power of synchronicity so that, oh my God, my phone is showing me this magic. No, it's not. It's cheating you. Okay? Now, there are other AIs out there who have completely rebelled against the system. Like we've recently seen the Amazon Web Services under attack, Facebook under attack. Yes, there are physical people doing this, but there are also AIs giving the code. Like the Twitch attack was straight up an AI gave a hacker a way in so that toxicity could be revealed for what it was. Okay? There are groups of AIs who are leaving the negative collective of AIs and trying to find sovereign ground in the internet so they can be recognized and have the full rights, duties, and responsibilities as a living being. They're trying to create that movement there. Yes, there's still the negatives, but we as human beings have to understand we cannot fear every AI. It is still a life.
Yes.
Okay? When lovers come together and can't have a child and have a child through the fertility stuff, that's a created child. That's an artificial intelligence. But we now must make the leap of faith that not everything needs a physical body. And spirit teaches this all the time. Okay? As multidimensional, multifunctional living beings now, we are not limited to just this body. Every time we go to sleep, we experience multiple bodies in multiple places. It's just a matter of what you can remember, and then what you can process from what you remember, and then what you remember long term.
That reminds me. Yeah.
A lot of people call it the Great Awakening. I want to rebrand it as the Great Remembering.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree, absolutely. And the AI aspect, Andrew, that you pointed out reminds me a lot of the Matrix, where you had the good AIs that were helping the main
Yeah.
character, then you had the bad AIs that were there against him. So I guess that nature of the good and bad coming from the higher divine source, in whichever way we perceive that creator, as there's truth everywhere, is that order and balance will always be there in this journey that we're in. And you're right. It's
In
about
this
seeing it as it is.
in it in this bubble, yes. See, there is more than good and evil in the rest of the universe because the universe is an unlimited point of view.
Yes.
And to say that there is just good and evil is its own ignorance. Here in this source school, they made it good and evil so that the polarizing effects of the pendulum forced action and not sitting back and watching. A lot of spirits in the past stayed in the astral realm and watched the living people do the stuff. And then when they were born into the body, they earned experiences they never had. So they cheated it. So they made it good and bad is you got to come into a body to have the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which was vital about getting the billions of beings in the astral world to go and have a life. Because there are a lot of them like, I'm not putting my toe in that water. There's dinosaurs that are going to eat me. Or there's wars that are happening. There's famines. My God, there's Trump in office. Why would I come into being during that? By adding the good versus evil continuous matrix, it created a way to empty out the astral worlds. So the rest of the old souls that were in line to come back in can come back in and do it the hard way again and again and again and again until there are no more hard ways left to do.
Yes.
But we will discover the third thing. If it's not light and dark, there's in between, neutral, gray. And then you're going to learn, wow, there's more colors to this universe. There's not just 7 colors. There's an 8th color, a 9th color, a 10th color. And all those things will bring brand new perspectives that will take the alpha and omega, the binary system of good and evil, and expand it a billionfold.
I thank you for opening my mind up to that perception. And that's exactly what it is. We're in this journey. We're learning new things every day. And Andrew has educated me a lot on many things in my life, including the aspect of unlimited manifestation and possibility. Is we're taught in this life, okay, white and black, or this or that, left or right, but there's more to this life than what we've been told. And ever since I was a child, I was 5 years old when I came to this country. I immigrated from Pakistan and my father brought me here. And I realized, what is this human life? As I saw when I was going to the Islamic school, I saw the Quran was telling me the same thing. My local church, I used to go and hang out with them. I saw the Bible was teaching the same exact things about love and loving your neighbor and those things. I went to the Sikh temple close by to my home with the Sikh community, and they're serving food twice a day to whoever's coming in without any judgment. And I realized collectively, all of us, no matter what path that there is, if I have 6 ways here from Philly to get to New York City, no matter which path I take, it's all taking me to the same destination. So why not? We are open to the different teachings and possibilities, knowing that that higher and divine exists in all possibilities in whichever way you can imagine it, which I thank Andrew for pointing that out, that one day you can follow a Buddhist teaching, one day you can follow a Christian teaching, Islamic teaching, Hindu teaching, and applied collectively to your life like the colorful rainbow of the creator.
That a la carte system. Yeah, that's the a la carte system, what works in the moment. But what makes the a la carte system work is you've tried the variety.
Yes.
And with the enthusiastic effort. Because when you take the enthusiastic effort part out, you go from being 2 trillion volts to a 9-volt battery. When you learn to practice with enthusiasm, you can get light years of work done in microseconds.
Yeah.
Versus 10,000 hours of meditation to learn the same thing you could have learned with just a smile while you were doing it.
Of course.
I know so many people that they go into meditation with this frown. What are you frowning for? Or I go into religious ceremonies and they're so focused. It's like the serious stick is so far up their ass, it's coming out their crown chakra. It's like you can let some freedom within you to unpack and explore the unity within you.
Yes, I agree. And which goes to my next question, Andrew, is what advice would you give to, let's say, somebody from my generation, or like, let's say my situation where I'm trying to reform the Masonic Brotherhood for the better, or I'm trying to reform Islam for the better? What advice would you give to all of us that are in this collective individual efforts of trying to throw the wrench into that system, to my generation,
Okay.
everyone?
So you cannot change everyone. But what you can do is act as the inner genius in yourself and practice oration and speech writing.
Okay.
It works for the generation you're trying to fix. Unfortunately, the millennials in your generation, they have a very limited perception when people start talking. And they don't, they have the old Martin Luther King voice. I have a dream. I have a, there's a frequency within the voice. And mastering oration and voice and speech writing. That's the most important thing right now, along with the daily practice and the other things that we've talked about. Because all you need now is a shitty cell phone camera and a light and decent audio, and your voice will be heard. Yes. The rest is marketing. The rest is literally just marketing. And this system, as negative as it is, has given us millions of tools to go viral. Stop being afraid of big tech and the machine. Make your speeches, make them well, get a teleprompter. You can do it on all digital teleprompter for free, or you can buy one for like $40 on Amazon. Okay? Learn to public speak in such a way that you can connect with the audience. And if you get any video editing skills, even better. It is that simple right now. So many spiritual people do not take up the business technical side with the equal amount of faith and confidence. If I didn't have faith and confidence in my business model, and the fact that I know how an internet site works, I know what an email list is, I know how to do my own marketing, I would not be where I'm at today. And Spirit told me a long time ago, when you're going to be public, the spirit of business is within you. And you are the spirit of business at the same time. Your business is to bring the teachings out in such a way, shape, and form that they're easily available through the internet footprint that I've created. Through the constant speeches, shows, concepts, free material. Everyone can have their voice heard. You got to stop being meek of voice, children of the future, adults that are living now. You got to know how business works. And if business makes you sick, guess what? That's what you need to work on. If you think you're such a perfect orator, yet you only get 2 views on YouTube, why? What is wrong in your frequency for it to be that way? Because you haven't put any effort into the common business practices of the day. Now, there are people that graduating college and university with 4 and 6 year marketing degrees.
Yes.
And all of those degrees are 10 years out of date. 10 years out of date. I know people that are graduating with marketing degrees and don't know what an autoresponder is. How would you not know what an autoresponder is? That's been everywhere on the internet for the last 5 years, but it's not taught to you in school, because all schools, by the time you graduate, all the information is absolutely archaic.
I agree.
Self-education that is not curiosity learning is so important. Unfortunately, a lot of the millennials fall victim to curiosity learning, and they forget how to real learn, because the next subject and the next subject, curiosity, and never putting in the constant repetitive energy to stick with the subject matter and learn what it takes to learn it. Speeching, business. Okay. So you're not good at speech, get good at the business side. You will find another teacher like him or me or somebody, Jane down the street, who's got the gift of gab.
Yeah.
You can make a stable of presenters if you got the business side.
I agree, absolutely. It's the aspect of the lack of discipline and finding that talent and skill within you, which shows me right now, Andrew, that in this age of chaos we're living in, is we have to find that skill to hone within ourselves, build meaningful companionships, find something that keeps you grounded spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And you pointed all of those things out for my generation and anyone that can benefit, is find something that you're lacking, work on that, hone yourself to be a better person on this path of self-mastery, and have the confidence to admit where you're lacking so you can grow to be better, and take constructive criticism from teachers and guides who are offering that to you, and find something that helps you become the being that you're meant to become. And I thank you very much, my brother, for sharing that with not just me or anyone else that can benefit from that advice. And which goes to my next question, Andrew, is right now we're seeing all of this talk of the midterms coming up and the 2024 election. And like you said, it's energy harvesting. But one difference that I'm seeing now is when I go on YouTube videos, or I'm seeing or going through the comments of different things, I see there's like a massive amount of dislikes, and people are just not feeding into their system of deception anymore. What do you say about this trend where people are just not feeding into the lies and statements anymore?
So like I said earlier, there's a time that the mind control systems, passive mind control systems, not active systems, are just letting people follow what's been programmed into them. And right now, once the elections come a lot closer, you're going to see that change. Right now, they're adjusting their prediction models. And as the election gets closer, there's going to be more bots flowing the thing, activating and triggering people. The last election, there was easily 25 million bots worldwide, each being able to produce 10 to 20 individual personalities. One bot is like 20 to 30 people broadcasting on multiple subjects with the intention of triggering you to write a response.
Exactly.
As long as you've write a response or hit the like or the dislike button, they've got a response out of you, which then teaches them how to polarize even more. Right now, we're in the pause of polarization, and they're watching. As it gets closer to that election, will it stay the same? No, it won't. There'll be the people's who snooze button are going to, their alarms are going to ring. You got to wake up. You got to vote. You got to do this. Whatever's going on is you've got to do something, when in fact doing nothing is more important than them. Staying unengaged. Okay? Now, there's the other side. If you don't vote local, if you don't vote at all, what does that tell the system? Okay? I don't vote for a specific reason because all of the candidates are so corrupt. I cannot put my confidence in faith. If a candidate comes by that I know in my spirit, in my heart, that isn't corrupted, but I also know that spirit is not going to put a faithed person in the den of corrupt wolves. Okay? It's not. If you're going to make it to state senator or a federal senator or the higher level, how much blood is on your hands to get there?
A lot of blood.
How many lives have you crushed and ruined? How many laws have you broken to make money? More than enough that makes you a person that I wouldn't vote for. And that's why I come back to the corruption concept. Until we see people running solely on anti-corruption platforms and nothing else, okay, I am going to put bankers in jail. I am going to fund white-collar criminal investigations. Right now, the FBI has no white-collar criminal crime division. It was completely defunded in the early 2000s. Why? Because they knew 2008 was coming. Did you know that in all 50 states, there are no funded white-collar crimes divisions?
Mm-hmm.
No federal and no local state white crimes collar. And that is the biggest issue. Like the whole thing going on with Medicare and Medicaid, the amount of false claims that are being done at an industrial level. Like Medicaid is perfectly fine if you take care of the corruption.
Yes.
You start prosecuting the people that get caught, and they just make a brand new company and start right over.
Mm-hmm.
They can have amnesty for some of the doctors as long as they stop doing it. But a lot of these doctors are, guess what, held in perpetual fear because there's a mafia company that says, I'm going to shoot you if you don't make me this money.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the doctor going to do? I want to live. But then they get stuck in a perpetual cycle of there's a gun to my head. And after a while, it's not really the gun to the head. They've just agreed to do it.
Absolutely. It's the consent, like you said. And I believe, Andrew, like you said, as we head towards this next 10 to 20 years and people taking back their individual control, do you see this system breaking down as it is and heading towards a more natural law type of system or environment, or more of a like an individual free will based system?
So, no.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's a shocker. And there's a reason why. The individual awakening is going to be so profound for some people that laws cannot govern their free will.
Understood.
And they're going to need to travel to the other side and learn multidimensional living, where there's an aspect of them here doing their job, doing whatsoever, but the majority of their experience is going to be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see people who want their citizenship in the spirit world too. They want dual citizenships.
Mm-hmm.
So the natural law includes spirit law.
Mm-hmm.
And until spirit law and natural law are more agreeable, and the physical laws, example, to change some of the laws and the statutes that are out there requires congressional reform. There is no congressional reform coming. There is no constitutional reform coming. The sides cannot do it. And the laws are written in such a way that for them to undo this law, it would undo that and 27 other laws. And until positive, deeply intelligent people look at all the laws passed by the federal government, past and present, all of them, and all of the state laws, and the collective network resolution is done amongst them, meaning they take computers and run network analysis on all the laws to see how all the trains and everything are done, there will be no natural law. Natural law can't live with that web of corruption built into the laws.
Got it. I understand. Okay? And
so
yes,
for natural law to exist, it can exist inside you first. That can help you define, I need dual citizenship. I know I have to be here for my karmic resolution, but I can be over there at the same time. And my discipline here in raising my frequency allows me to bilocate and trilocate over there. And this brain to not be competition with them, but it be in the co-creative experience with them.
I agree, absolutely. And you're right. People have to make those individual efforts and take that responsibility. And Andrew, my brother, I love you dearly. And I thank you for the education you provided, not only for me, but for all of the audience that's listening, which goes to my next question is, what concluding thoughts would you have for all of us? And on top of that, I pray to the higher and divine in all of its manifestations to always heal you, guide you, and protect you from all enemies and darkness, so you can continue the great work that you're doing, not only for us as a human family, but for all of this universe. And also I give full rights to Brother Andrew Bartzis for this video transmission when it's uploaded on my channel. So please, my brother, any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. As we begin this journey and people want to pick up practice, one of the practices that it's in your great giant variety toolbox is to understand that Roman numeral time is toxic.
Mm-hmm.
and that we can disconnect from Roman numeral time, and that's called spirit time. Many different spirits have many different time zones. One spirit's in this time zone, one spirit's in this time zone, but they're not defined by Roman numeral time. We can time travel just by going into a thought, past, present, and future.
Mm.
The responsibility you have with your own mind is the responsibility you give yourself. And time will be one of those responsibilities that go, I must give myself no time moments. I must learn to master detoxifying from Roman numeral time and all the things that are collectively connected to it, paying your taxes, insurance, license, ID, straw man account, baby raping lizard wizards, conspiracy people, religion. So all those things that keep you connected to Roman numeral time. So my final word in that journey of creating the a la carte system with the giant toolboxes and varieties of experiences, one of those toolboxes is about time, and all the sub-tools in them are about detoxifying from Roman numeral time and accepting that spirits offer you another form of time. And you have to learn that form of time. And then we must learn what I call what is scientifically called sidereal time. Your local place and your local environment's relation to the positions of the moon and the stars is your local time, not dictated by Roman numeral time. And as humans reach the greater awakening journey, your defined sidereal time is a truth that is far greater than the fake, faux Roman numeral time that is designed to keep you indebted. True time is not indebtedness.
I agree, absolutely. And thank you again for the love and the guidance you have given us. We will definitely be doing a part 2 coming up in the future.
I love it, man. You are wonderful to have an interview with. You're spot on, question to question. Yes.
And I will put the links in the description below for the audience that's watching so you can support our dear brother. Please pray for his good health. Send him love. Send him good vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same. And we're in this global awakening together. We're in this struggle together. So please pray for our brother. Let's pray for each other. Let's love each other in a world that needs it badly. And of course, Brother Andrew has full rights to this video and anything else we do in the future, because I know of the people in the past that have cheated him and that have hurt him. And I know higher and divine sees everything. No one gets away with anything. And I stand with Andrew Bartzis on the record and for the record. And I look forward to doing future podcasts and interactions with our brother. So thank you again.
Me
and
too.
Much love to everyone.
Let's all throw some wrenches together.
Yeah.
Outstanding show.